So today we'll be taking a look at some hidden messages from Seth Rollins, other stories with Bayley, and more. For today's question of the day, who do you have winning at SummerSlam, Seth Rollins or Edge? So let's dive into this Seth Rollins vs. Edge storyline for a minute, because it may be going deeper and already foreshadowing what's next for Seth Rollins and the main event scene on SmackDown post SummerSlam. SummerSlam will finally feature the long-awaited dream match of Seth Rollins vs. Edge. Not only is this a dream match, the overall backstory for this matchup is actually extremely rich in quality. Seth Rollins and Edge's issue with each other doesn't date back to just a few months ago. It dates back to 2014 in that closing segment of Monday Night Raw, where Seth Rollins threatened to curb stomp Edge's surgically repaired neck if he didn't get what he wanted. Of course, Edge was still not cleared to compete at the time and was only 3 years removed from the actual neck injury itself back then. So it was a really slimy and scary move for Seth's character to threaten Edge under those circumstances at the time. Edge couldn't do anything back then. Doctors didn't want him doing anything that physical due to the threat of something going wrong and leaving him paralyzed. But fast forward 7 years later, and that segment was one of the first things Edge mentioned right to Seth Rollins' face. As we know, Seth Rollins approached Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce about facing Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. He felt like he earned it after defeating Cesaro. They said they'll consider it. But there came Edge, who cut the line and got the title match before Seth Rollins. This made Seth just lose it, and that's when he started ranting about both Roman and Edge until he was finally confronted by Edge backstage. Edge mentioned how Seth hasn't changed a bit since 2014, and that was where their story for SummerSlam started to build up. All of that tension and frustration from Seth Rollins would end up with him interfering in that match of Edge vs. Roman at Money in the Bank. Right when it seemed like Edge was closing in on winning the title, Seth Rollins came out to stop Edge from winning the title and basically save Roman as well. Roman vs. Seth was teased at the end of Payback, and then again here at Money in the Bank. Seth told Roman that he only retained that title because of what he did to Edge. But Edge comes back to take Rollins out. So that entire face-off between Roman and Seth never really went anywhere. Now, that leads us to this video package from this week's SmackDown. The clear target for Seth's video package was clearly Edge. The video package was made in Seth's vision and was meant to show that all of his accomplishments were better than Edge's. But there was another big target that Seth Rollins indirectly came after with this same video package. That target was Roman Reigns. During the video package, they focused some time on the Shield. Seth Rollins took all the credit for all of the Shield's success and even called himself the leader of the Shield. So that could most definitely be almost seen as a shot at Roman Reigns and even Moxley. When the Shield was together on TV, they used to mention how there was no leader and how they were just all brothers that were fighting for justice. But now, all these years later, Seth Rollins is coming out and saying that he was the leader and he did everything for the Shield. So again, more seeds being planted and more foreshadowing for the Roman Reigns vs. Seth Rollins feud that's being rumored to take place sometime this fall. Roman Reigns most likely takes care of John Cena, and Seth Rollins probably takes care of Edge. But the Rollins and Edge matchup does seem to be a bit of a toss-up. Sure, it'll make sense for Rollins to defeat Edge because that'll help Rollins' case to finally face Roman Reigns. But on the flip side, do you really keep this pay-per-view losing streak going for Edge? Edge lost at WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, and now SummerSlam as well? Is it too much of a losing streak? Does Edge get the win, but Seth still goes on to face Roman Reigns? It can honestly go either way right there. But there's still lots of hidden messages and foreshadowing going on that seems to be leading us to Rollins vs. Reigns. So keep your eyes out for more hidden jabs at Roman from Seth Rollins. Speaking of Roman Reigns, he recently spoke with CBS to discuss going back on the road and his legacy coming out of the Thunderdome. He had this to say during that interview: "That's my legacy coming out of the Thunderdome, hands down, without question. It can be debated for great content on social media, and and WWE to put these polls and try to make an argument. But there's no argument. There's been nobody to ever carry the WWE product like I have over the past year, and I stand on that. You can throw anybody out. We can try and be nice and say, oh, Bayley, she just got hurt. She was the best. Come on, let's not lie to ourselves. The tribal chief has carried the WWE for well over a year now, and there's no denying it. So some big remarks there from Roman Reigns. When fans discuss Thunderdome and pandemic-era MVPs, you often hear names like Drew McIntyre, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Roman Reigns, and others. But since Bayley had those extra 5 months of being in the Performance Center when Roman wasn't around, a lot of fans tend to give Bayley the edge over Roman Reigns for overall pandemic-era MVP. But in Roman's eyes, he's fully dismissing Bayley, and anyone that says Bayley was the MVP. Bayley recently responded to this quote from Roman Reigns on Twitter and said, "That's it, he's done for, and now I'm hashtag Team Cena." So it looked like Bayley was previously Team Roman, but that quote was enough to make her switch sides. Bayley also interacted with Alexa Bliss on Twitter, posting a winking picture of herself with the caption, "Sup, Lily?" Obviously a reference to Alexa Bliss's Lily doll, who helped Alexa pick up the win on Raw recently with a blinking distraction. Alexa Bliss responded to Bayley's tweet with a laughing gif. Bayley is still recovering from her knee injury and will be out of action until mid-2022, but it's still nice to hear from her and see her pop up in some headlines while we wait for her return. Baron Corbin's story continues to take some great twists and turns. Corbin came out to ask WWE fans for donations for the $100,000 that he needs, but was interrupted by Kevin Owens. Their interaction led to a match that actually had a lot on the line. If Corbin lost, he had to stop begging the fans for donations, and if Owens lost, he had to give Corbin $1,000. So at least it wasn't a pointless match. It served as the final match on SmackDown and actually had something at stake. So that was great to see. But just a few moments later, we saw the start of what Corbin is doing next. Corbin stole the Money in the Bank briefcase from Big E and took off running. The commentators even seemed confused and questioned the possibility of Corbin cashing in on the contract, even though he's not the rightful owner. So this is going to be another fun side story for Corbin and even Big E as well. Big E did win the contract, but he hasn't been up to much since winning it, so at least this gives him something to do as well. Will the contract actually switch hands, similar to what we saw last year with Otis and The Miz? No, that's highly unlikely, especially with Corbin's character where everything tends to go wrong for him. So chances are that Big E will get it back pretty fast. But then we'll have to see what Corbin will move on to after that. Desperation seems to be one of his biggest attributes right now. So we'll see just how far he's willing to take it for the sake of his livelihood. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.